The Mobile County Public Schools presents Homeroom.
Hi, and welcome to Homeroom, where we introduce you to the educators and the students who make Mobile County Public Schools the best school system in the state of Alabama. I'm your host, Renee Phillips, and today we're going to meet some of our Golden Apple Award winners from WKRG. Now, since WKRG started this program, we've had dozens of teachers who've been recognized, including Marcy Hines, who's my first guest. She's from Barton Academy, and she teaches history. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I've got to brag on you for a little bit. You were Alabama's History Teacher of the Year and a finalist for National Teacher of the Year.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So in 2020, I was actually nominated by one of my coworkers when I was at Baker for that chance to be Alabama's History Teacher of the Year, and I went through the process and did all the paperwork and all the fun stuff and submitted everything, and I was fortunate that summer to find out that yes, I'd been selected as Alabama's History Teacher of the Year for 2020, and just a couple of short weeks later I got word that I was one of the top 12 finalists for National History Teacher of the Year for Gilder Learman. That was mind-boggling. I just was, to be considered in the top 12 in the country, I was mind-blown.
And I'm remembering that because that was when we got to know you when we were doing the live lessons through COVID.
Yes.
Right during that process.
Yeah, I was actually in the process of doing all of that and getting ready for applying and submitting all of my information for that award as we were in the middle of filming during COVID.
Right. And so tell us about that. Remind us, our viewers, about the live lessons. So you were on air once a week? Twice a week?
It was once a week. I would come every week, and we would come to Phillips. It was nice. Y'all had this beautiful setup for us, and we would set up in the classroom, and it felt like we were just back in the classroom. In the middle of COVID, we were just trying to adjust to life, being away from our students, and I enjoyed that process because I still got to do the actual teaching. I wasn't just behind a screen, and students from across the county got to watch my live teaching. It was fabulous.
Yeah, because that was in the very early days.
It was.
And when we were trying to figure out what to do,
Yeah.
and they were fantastic history lessons. I love history, so
thank you.
I always like listening to your lessons. And now you're at Barton Academy.
I am.
And one thing that WKRG focused on when they came and talked to you is you teach history, and now you're part of history, right?
Yes.
Opening this new school.
Yes. And that was one of the driving factors for me to want to go to Barton Academy, is because as a history teacher, what better place to teach history than right in the middle of downtown Mobile? I taught Mobile history for 10 years at Baker, and having the opportunity to be able to just take my students out, let's go to the Church Street Cemetery and, use this as a primary source, or go down to the archives, or working with the City Museum, which we did last year, and that's going to be a continuation over the next couple of years. That partnership between us and the City Museum of building exhibits, our kids getting to work as historians. I mean, what history teacher wouldn't want to work in that environment?
And I know you love teaching history. In particular, what do you love about it?
Getting to share the past with others. I fell in love with history at a very young age. I think I told Bill White Riles, it was like I was 5. I was 5 years old when I fell in love with history. And it's about telling that story. It's about telling our past. That kind of cliche history quote, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. That's what I love about it. And making things relevant to our kids. I mean, I can remember history classes and us learning those facts, but making those connections and helping our kids understand, an event that happened 50 years ago, say something like the Civil Rights Movement, we're not that far removed from that. We're not that far removed from that history, and we can still connect to that. And it still is having impacts on us today. And so that's what I love about it, is helping them understand just because it happened 50 years ago doesn't mean that it doesn't have an effect on us. And that's what I love so much about our subject.
And how do your students like history? Are they interested?
They seem to be pretty interested, especially if it's something that is geared towards them. And that's the thing that I love about history, is that you can pull in so many different elements, and you can make it to where it is about the kids themselves and about their background, their story. And that's when we make it relevant for them. That's when they really get intrigued, because again, a lot of them come into our classrooms thinking this is nothing but rote memorization, just learning facts, a bunch of boring old dead guys, what we're going to talk about. But that's not what we're doing. We're making those connections. Say, for example, we just talked about the Civil Rights Movement and the students, and the student movement, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Those kids were able to understand the impact that students made and how they could possibly make an impact in their own lives. Like, you don't have to be an adult. As students, they were making major strides. That's what they really enjoy about it.
And we've had Nate Smith on this show before, and he's talked to us about just that, the fact that it's not all memorization. There are some things we have to know, like constitutional amendments and those sorts of things. But as a mom, too, my children have gone through history classes, and they seem to get more into the why and the how. And is that your goal to get
Absolutely.
into that?
Yeah, because that's one of the things people understand. Okay, for example, the American Revolution, we declared independence from Great Britain in 1776, but why did we actually do that? What was the point of doing that? And that's what the kids love. They're like, oh, well, now that makes sense. Like, why are we here? Now I understand why we're here.
And I understand you got to work through a exciting program while you were doing your master's degree. Can you tell us about that?
I did. In 2019, I was selected as Alabama's James Madison Fellow, and the Madison Fellowship gives a fellowship to one recipient from each state each year, and I received that in 19, and that allowed me to go back to South Alabama, work on my master's in education. In the summer, I spent a month in DC finishing up my master's at Georgetown University. So that's kind of fun to have two, graduate credits from Georgetown. I get to wear my Georgetown sweatshirt and say, I actually went here. So yeah, it was an amazing program. Got to visit the meet a Supreme Court justice, go to the Capitol building, go to the library, all these amazing places that you might not have access to as general public. We got to do this summer.
I bet your students love hearing stories about being there.
Oh yeah.
Because no better place to experience history than Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. And we're taking a group in April, so we're very excited about that.
Okay. And just congratulations on being named the Golden Apple. Was that just such a special day as Bill Riles came in and surprised you?
It was a complete surprise. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And the fact that it was my students that nominated me, that's what made it so special for me, because that's why I'm there. I'm there for my kids, and the fact that they care enough about me to nominate me, that was the real kicker there.
Okay. Well, we are so proud of you and the work that you're doing every day with our students.
Thank
Marcy
you.
Hines. We have to break for commercial, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to some more of our Golden Apple award-winning teachers in Mobile County Public Schools. So stay tuned for Homeroom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ayla, hi.
Oh, hi, Sierra. How are you?
Good. How are things?
Things couldn't be better.
What do you mean?
Well, I just started this new job as a school teacher with the Mobile County Public Schools, and it has been a life changer. Great benefits, the hours are great, and great students. Just overall, it's a great opportunity.
Oh, wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm going to look into that.
You should.
For more information, visit mcpss.com/job opportunities.
Hi, and welcome back to Homeroom. Today I'm introducing you to some of our fabulous teachers who have been named Golden Apple Award winners by WKRG. Now that's a fun project that the TV station does where we get to go into the classroom and surprise them with an award. Nicole Landry from Mary G. Montgomery High School. What was that like when we walked in with Bill Riles?
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
I was very emotional, especially when I saw two of my former students who had nominated me walk in. And it's just, but because it came from the students, it just means so much more than anything else possibly could.
Yeah, and so for our viewers who may not know, anyone can nominate a teacher on WKRG.com, and it was former students of yours.
Yes, that I had taught in 10th and 11th grade, and they're seniors now. So they were able to come back in, and they were interviewed, and just hearing them talk about our class and what it meant to them was definitely a highlight moment.
And that's why you do what you do, right?
Absolutely.
You teach for that.
I feed off the students. It's we have to love our students or else we're never going to be effective teachers. So
now the class that we walked into, you teach social studies.
I did.
And dual enrollment. So tell us about that.
Okay, so I teach 10th and 11th grade dual enrollment history. We do it through Bishop State Community College, where my students are earning, of course, weighted credit, but they're also getting college credit through Bishop State for our classes. So I teach United States History 1 and United States History 2. So a lot of my students I have for a 2-year period because they want both of those credits.
And what we say in Mobile County is we're preparing students to be college and career ready. And people may not know that through this dual enrollment, you're getting the college credit at the same time as the high school credit.
And they're doing college level work. It's not like an AP exam after. Everything is done through the college testing program. Like I have a testing bank that we use, and then I can design the test, but it's based on their college level, writing samples or research or even the multiple choice assignments that are part of our assessments. And so they're doing college level work at the high school level, which, some of these students are 15 years old when they come to me in 10th grade. So it's really impressive that they're able to do that and excel the way that they do.
We were just talking to one of your history colleagues, Marcy Hines, about that. It's not all memorizing dates, right?
Absolutely not. And we're in an era where they have every fact at their fingertips. I mean, how many of us Google all the time? So to me, with history, it's about teaching them how to think and how to look at things in a historical perspective, but also how to process information. They've got to be able to identify bias. They've got to be able to look at the source and critically, think about it. And I think through the use of primary sources in a history classroom, we're preparing them for that.
And I'd imagine when you get them as a 10th grader, they may not have been exposed to this type of writing and thinking.
Correct.
And so what's that like to watch them progress throughout the year?
Well, when I first came to MGM, I had spent 15 years as a middle school teacher at Grand Bay. And so I'm coming to teach dual enrollment, and I probably had some unrealistic expectations until they took that first test, and I realized just what you're saying, they've got to get to this level. So we have fabulous honors teachers that get them prepared, but it's still a different thing to be able to do college level work. So there's a lot of modeling, a lot of practice, a lot of feedback involved. But to see them by the end, I mean, really even halfway through their 10th grade year, but specifically we get to the end of their junior year and they've just flown. And it's amazing to see how even their class discussions have grown, how their writing has grown, how their thinking has matured. And it is quite rewarding.
And these are things that will help them in all subjects.
Absolutely. And in life, like I said, I mean, reading a news source and knowing who wrote it, what is their possible reason for writing it? What are some possible bias that may be there in that source, or maybe what's the counter argument you want to read from another source. All of these things they can use to both learn history, because we're looking at firsthand accounts of history, but also just use as citizens later on, which is the ultimate overriding goal of the social studies, to prepare effective citizens.
Right, and that's so important in our society, I think,
Absolutely.
because a lot of people think we don't teach these things, and we
We
definitely do.
absolutely do. We're teaching them how to think, which is really,
Yeah.
I always say, I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you how to think about it and form your own conclusions, because that's so much more important.
And obviously your students love you. They nominated you for this award, but you had a great story about as soon as you got the award, you got to go tell your grandmother. Can you tell us that?
So my grandmother taught me both 2nd and 5th grade, which is highly unusual.
Oh, yeah.
And I promise you, she held me to higher standards than anyone else. But she's, we're so lucky to still have her. She's 92 years old. And immediately that afternoon, I went out to show her the award. My mother had already told her, but we have a great picture of the two of us together, and it's just special to show it to your favorite teacher ever, because she happens to be your Maisie,
Yeah. And so you have a history in your family of being teachers.
Absolutely. So my mother retired as a teacher from Davidson. This is year 20 for me. My grandmother taught, my aunt taught, my uncle taught, my brother-in-law taught. I was never going to be a teacher, but it absolutely is my calling, and I'm so glad that that's where I'm at.
What were you going to do instead?
I was going to be, I was pre-law in undergrad, so I had a degree in political science and history. Got into law school, decided, I'm not sure I really want to do this, and ultimately chose teaching because I love my subject matter so much.
Yeah.
And I think passion for your subject always shows through when you're teaching it to kids.
That's what I think too. I'm always amazed when we go into the classrooms and they surprise you with these awards, and then they have the camera and they're asking you questions and you're able to answer them because you love what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I could talk about my students all day long, because I do think they're so special. And of course, we're teaching them. We're all preparing our students the best we know how. But it's the students that are really the focus of everything we do.
So tell me about your students. You love them?
So I absolutely love them. And like I said, they are obviously very smart, or they would not be taking college level classes as 10th and 11th graders. But they're so willing to discuss and to share their thoughts and share their opinions. And of course, that starts with the culture of the classroom. We have to know that they can trust me, they can trust each other, and they're really so respectful to each other, even when they disagree. I mean, they're high school students. Occasionally they'll get a little zinger in there. But I've always said, or often said, if the adult world could disagree the way that my students disagree, the world would be a much better place, because they keep the emotion out of it. They can get passionate about what they're saying, but there's really no judgment of each other.
It's such a good life skill, too, to learn how
Absolutely.
to disagree
Yes.
and be nice about it.
And base it on facts, because
Right.
it's always, why do you think this? That's the number one question in my classroom, is always why. It's great that you have this information, but why did you draw that conclusion?
Why?
Yes.
Well, thank you for everything that you do to prepare our students to be critical thinkers and to
I
be
love
ready
it.
for college, and congratulations on the
Thank
award.
you.
We have to break for commercial, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to more of our Golden Apple Award winners, so stay tuned for Homeroom.
There's a lot to like about Mobile County Public Schools.
What I enjoy about Mobile County School is the extra attention my teachers give us to help us learn.
Teachers are liking their access to technology, and students are liking the quality of their education.
I like the technology that's been incorporated into my education.
And since 1826, you have trusted us to prepare your child for their future, and we like that. Mobile County Public Schools. We are learning today, leading tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome back to Homeroom. Today we're introducing you to some of our Golden Apple Award winners from WKRG. They're nominated by their students or their colleagues, and we get to go in and surprise them when they win the award. And now I have Daphne Milton, who's a teacher at Gilliard Elementary School, and that was such a fun day when we walked in with your precious second graders.
Yes, it's caught me so off by surprise, but it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I'm glad I'm able to put in my bucket list as a check off.
So what's it like teaching second grade?
I love it. I have a great passion for teaching. I love second grade because in my classroom, you can't say the phrase, I can't, because I want them to know, even though it's hard, yes, with more practice, you'll get better because you can do anything. Anything you put your mind to, you can do it. So I can't should not be a word in your vocabulary.
I love that.
Yes.
So do you tell them that from day one?
Yes. Meet the teacher, or I have the mother, the father, whoever the guardian is. I was like, okay, I'm letting you know, because I know they're going to go home and say, Miss Milton said I can't is a cussing word, but it is in my classroom because I want them to know they can do anything. Anything they put their mind to, they can do it. So.
Do they mess up a few times and say it?
Like the first 2 weeks, they're like, oh, Miss Milton, I was like, it's okay. But just know, the more you practice, the better you will get. So just eliminate I can't, because you can do anything.
And
anything you put your mind to it.
Oh, I love that. And second grade is such a crucial year without learning to read and math.
Yes. Well, in Gilliard Elementary School, we departmentalize. So I teach math and science, and they'll switch and go to another teacher who teaches reading, language, and social studies. So
oh, that's neat.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So what's it like teaching math to a second grader?
It's interesting because with math it's numbers, and sometimes that's when the frustration comes when the phrase I can't come into part. And it's also like teaching reading because when I do word problems, I break it down in 3 parts. What's the problem about? What are you trying to find out? And what information is important? So I bring in reading with comprehension. So you have to ask yourself those 3 questions before you even solve the problem. So that's a good thing too, to help them, think more into the problem.
And then the science. Kids love science, don't they?
Experiments. So it's messy, but it's so much fun. Like we did a volcano experience where they had to build a volcano. And it was a lot. I sent a message home to the parents like, hey, just in case your child come home with messy clothes, it's washable, but we had an experience today.
But that's a good experience as a scientist to get your hands dirty, get messy, and make a volcano.
Yes, they love it, love it. So third quarter, I'm sorry, it's about to start. We're going to do a lava lamp. So I can't wait to see their face expressions when they time to make a lava lamp.
Oh, yeah. That's so fun. Science class is always fun to visit, I think, because of the hands-on and the critical thinking skills and all those that they probably don't realize they're learning as second graders.
No, they're not. But they're so excited. They're like, what are we going to do today? Because I try to do at least one science experiment a week. And they so eager. Like, what's that? I'm like, just wait, and you'll see. So, yes.
And Gilliard is such a special place. I love going to Gilliard. So tell us about the school.
I love Gilliard. I've been there since I've been a student teacher. My principal is amazing. She really cares for us. She cares for the teacher, but also the students there. She will go out her way to make sure she's pleased and be a help to whoever in need. So she's amazing. I'm blessed to be under her great leadership, yes.
And I know Gilliard was recognized as a class banner school, I think, for the bucket filler program. So do you want to tell us about that?
So the bucket filler, this year she initiated, we have a tree. So whenever you're doing a kind act, either you're a teacher or a student or whoever, you able to put a heart on the tree. And bucket filler, just being kind, saying kind words, hey, good morning, any good expression to make someone feel special. Now, it is such thing as called a bucket dipper when you're being mean and you're taken away. So she really tries to encourage not only the students, but also the teachers to be bucket fillers.
And how important is it that we're teaching those skills? We're teaching the math and the science, but also how to be a good human.
Yes, because like I said, I can't. In the world, when you get older, you're going to have trials and tribulations, but you need to know you can do it. So she's just amazing. And that's with the bucket filler. being kind, treat people like you want to be treated. So it's a great experience.
So tell us about your kids.
My kids, okay, I love them. They're spoiled, and when they leave, they want to come back. But I just treat them with love and respect, because I feel like if I treat them with love and respect, they will show me love and respect, and they'll perform the way I need them to perform.
I'm going to read a quote that you said in your interview. I like that I'm able to leave a positive impact on every child that enters my classroom. I'm able to mold them and leave a firm foundation, because you can't say you can't, right?
Yes.
And so how important is that at that second grade level for that foundation?
In second grade, it's like a sponge. Whatever you say, they hold on to it. And a lot of my students, with the background they have, they don't get all that love at home. So with them, I love them. If they need their hair combed, I'll comb their hair. If they need something, I make sure when they come to my classroom, they know it's a safe haven, and I'm going to take care of them and make sure they get everything. And I feel like the way you treat people, they'll treat you, and it's just a ball in effect.
I love it. Safe haven.
Yes.
Can't say I can't.
No.
Well, thank you for everything that you do at Gilliard. I know that you are truly making a difference in their lives. We could see that in their faces when they were so excited that you got the Golden Apple Award. And so thank you very much. We've got to break for commercial, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to another Golden Apple Award winner. So stay tuned for Homeroom.
High school students, are you looking for a way to become a better leader? Then the Junior Officers Training Corps may be what you're seeking. If you would like to develop self-reliance, learn ways to be more responsible, and improve your communication skills, you can do that and more when you register for the Junior Officers Training Corps. The JROTC program is available to all high school students in Mobile County. JROTC, we build a better you.
You've got questions? We got answers. MCPSS.com. Whether it's attendance zones, school calendar, lunch menus, or registration information that you are looking for, you can find it right here. MCPSS.com. You can also get the latest news and district-wide calendar information, and it's just a click away. So when you need to know, and you need to know right now, check us out. MCPSS.com.
Hi, and welcome back to Homeroom. Today I'm introducing you to some of our Golden Apple Award winners from WKRG. These are fabulous teachers who are nominated by their students, their colleagues, for the work that they're doing in our classroom every day. Joining me, I have Madeline Thomaston, or she says she's known as Mrs. T.
Yes, my favorite people call me Mrs. T.
And who would your favorite people be? Your students?
Yes, my students, especially the two students that nominated me for this.
Yeah, so you teach language arts at Phillips Preparatory School, and you're only a second-year teacher.
Yes, this will be my second year. I've been at Phillips Preparatory this whole time. It's just an honor.
Yeah, and I loved the students who nominated you. They love you because you're close in age to them. They can relate to you. So tell us about those students.
Oh my goodness, they were a mess in my classroom. Wonderful, wonderful two students. But yeah, we're close in age. I don't tell them my age, but they know, of course, looking at me, that we are similar age group. And
yeah, and to be a young teacher and to get this award,
yes,
that's pretty significant, right?
Yes.
To be thought so highly of by your students. What was that like when they gave you the award?
Oh, it was so surreal. It was a out-of-body experience almost, because they surprised me, and it's been one of my dreams to be a Golden Apple Award winner since I've seen my cooperating teachers have Golden Apples, and I was like, what is this? And then they just surprised me. He was like, hey, I'm Bill, coming up in my classroom. I'm like, hi, I'm just teaching a lesson. So
yeah, it's a slew of people that come in. They give you some prizes. And so tell us, one thing that I loved about your interview too is you talked about the fact that you have ADD and that you can help your students who may also have that.
Yeah, so I feel like with my ADHD, that even if I get distracted easily in the classroom, that they understand, like, oh, I can relate to my teacher as well. And some teachers expect the students to just sit there and not like do the work or get distracted, and I'm like, I want to make sure that their focus is re-centered on learning. And because like I said, I'm ADHD, they're able to understand and comprehend, like, I'm not alone in this fight. So.
And I'd imagine it's good for them to see somebody who's successful, that has ADHD and is now standing in front of a classroom of middle schoolers leading them in instruction. So is that encouraging, do you think, for them?
Yes, I always say that I cannot talk in front of adults. I can talk to students all day long, but I've had a few students that were really nervous talking to me as a teacher, and I'm able to just look at them and say, look, you're talking to Miss T. Like, I'm going to be there for you no matter who you are, no matter what you do. I'm still going to love you at the end of the day. You are wonderful, and I just wanted to make a difference with these kids. And I really feel like building that relationship with the kids and the students in the classroom really deepens their understanding for, like, even the content in the classroom as well, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense. Like, I'm sure that it does. And because so many of our students do have some type of learning disability or ADHD, so what advice do you give them? How do they work around that to be successful?
Oh my goodness. I just say, don't let it affect you as an individual. You're still you. You still have your own identity. You still can make a difference. You still can go from point A to point B. You still can reach out and meet those goals. And like I said, like Golden Apple, that was one of my goals and my dreams. And I overcame everybody saying, oh, well, maybe you wouldn't amount to being a teacher because you're ADHD, or you get distracted easily, or you have anxiety as well. That's another thing. I have anxiety, and I tell them, if I can stand up in front of the classroom and talk to you, you can talk to me, teacher to student. You can go through all the learning. So.
That's great. And because Phillips, it's a pretty intense curriculum. You got that pre-international baccalaureate. So what's it like teaching there?
I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love my coworkers. It is wonderful. And I like that there's more hands-on, real-life experiences with the IB curriculum. So it's not, hey, here's the concept and here's a test. It's more, hey, here's a concept. You get quizzes, maybe a test, but then you have those hands-on collaborations in the classroom and you create different things.
And what's it like teaching language arts to middle schoolers?
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I love teaching poetry. I love teaching figure of language, and I love the light bulb moment when my kids understand a concept and say, I understand this, Miss T. So.
Do you write a lot? I know that's an important skill that we've got to learn.
My students write a lot, but I also make them read a lot too.
Yeah, what are they reading right now, or what will they read this semester?
So they're going to be reading The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin.
I love that book.
I love it too, and it's a total mystery novel, and I tell them, do not tell other people what is going to happen if you read ahead.
Right.
So they're busting out of the seam saying, oh my gosh, what just happened? And we have to decompress and say, all right, let's break down these concepts. Like, let's break down what just happened.
Right. Well, good luck to your students reading this semester, and good luck to you. I know that you're going to do a fantastic job. We're proud of you and the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that Golden Apple Award. We look forward to seeing what you do in the future as a young teacher. And so that is all the time that we have homeroom. But before we go, I want to let you know that if you have a favorite teacher that you want to nominate for the Golden Apple Award, go to WKRG.com and nominate them. And then hopefully your teacher will be surprised soon with an award. So thank you for joining us on Homeroom.